Good morning. When history is written, if Google is not changing the results quickly as time goes by, I want it to be written in stone. I want it on my tombstone that I was on Kari Lake's side.
I want to show you something really, really disgusting. You can actually take your phones out. This is interesting, guys. We had observers in MCTEC. And for some weird reason, they had this map on the wall. We thought, well, that's interesting. This is a map, we were told, that shows the hot spots where all the Republicans vote. Why would they want that map on the wall? Why would it matter where Republicans vote? So you see the areas where it's really heavily Republican in Maricopa County. Now I want to show you another map. This is an image showing all of the vote centers that were sabotaged on Election Day, okay? You see that? Okay, you're going, what's the difference in colors here? The white pins show areas that are just a complete and utter failure. For every single ballot that was tabulated, another ballot was spit out. That's a wash, right? Every ballot that was tabulated, one got spit out. Those were the worst case scenario. These other pins here are areas where the tabulators are spitting out ballots all day as well. Now let's just, for the fun of it, for grins and giggles, let's overlay those two maps real quick. Oh, now I'm starting to figure out why they needed that heat map. Isn't that something? I'm sure it's just a coincidence, guys. Purely a coincidence. Yeah, I didn't say that. I'm not putting $1 in the curse jar. She said it's BS. Republicans were targeted on Election Day in Maricopa County.
She said it was bullish. She said it all loud. This woman in the crowd said it out loud. Kari Lake is infectious. And I know it's early in the morning, but I'm going to talk about it again. We were talking about last night last afternoon, yesterday, when the live devolved about attractiveness. And Amber Heard is a 1 compared to Kari Lake. Let me make that clear, continuing that conversation. But Just the News has an article laying out a great update because I want to do an update on what's going on with Arizona. That clip is the perfect clip to start. Kari Lake showed you the heat map straight out, and I don't believe in coincidences. Do you? Are you going to wake up this morning with your cup of joe and tell me you believe in coincidences? You can if you want. I just won't be on that path with you. I'm going to take a different path. I'm going to take the path where I have questions and I need answers. And why do I care about Arizona? Because Arizona represents everything that's been happening. For how long? I don't know. I just woke up over the last 3 years. I don't know how long this has been going on. Let's just start with the last couple years and then go from there. The heat map that Kari Lake showed, and we show a bigger picture of it here because it was in the video, might be grainy. This is the heat map I'm going to show on the screen that she's coming with very measured, very well thought out plan. Very impressive. I can't tell you how impressed I am with Kari Lake. I just can't overestimate that. And we're looking at the heat map. And what this heat map shows is the general process. They're using the 2020 in-person Republican voter dot density. So when you see more red, you're seeing more Republican. And if Arizona were a state left up to its own druthers, it would be, Toy Mafia, shout out. It would be, in my opinion, similar to what we see in Florida. But I think it would be even more MAGA-ish than Florida. I could be wrong. Just a complete guess. But this is the red. The more red, the more Republican. So Kari Lake says, okay, let's take a look at where we had issues. Let's overlay the issues we had with the dot density of who's more red than not. And it damn near maps point for point. Okay, I need answers. That don't make any sense. That is, I mean, that is something that should be a national scandal. They didn't want the problems from this mama bear. And that's all she really is. She is the most polished mama bear of all mama bears, and they don't know what to do with her. Let's go to the Just the News article. I'll go in and out of this article here. It's done very well, and I have one topic today. I do want to get on that Robert Biden topic where he admitted that the laptop is his, but I'll do that at a different time. Just the News has been doing some really good work. Arizona Senate rocked by claims of the process issues as Lake presses appeal and challenge to 2022 State Senate Elections Committee hearing testimony from this integrity group alleged maladministration of the process in Maricopa County. We're back again. I have a playlist on the channel. I think it's called Arizona Audit, so I might need to change the name of that. But I have all this stuff detailed, so I can't go into every time we do the topic. I mean, it'll be hour video every time. I can't go into every. Excuse me. I can't go into every single detail. But if you go on the channel, the homepage. This is the channel. Homepage here. You go to playlists, and I gotta clean this up. I got too many, but. If you go down to Arizona Audit, I've got everything from the audit. From the audit on down to the details of the trial. This is under oath. I've got stuff under oath of what they admitted of the faults. So this is detailed. Everything's detailed out there. Subscribe to that playlist if you want those details. I really do. This is something I want receipts on. I don't want to just be talking about stuff. So the receipts are all there, all public information too. And I like that Wendy Rogers is a part of this. If you don't know, I think Wendy Rogers is the perfect kind of ally for Kari Lake. She's like so Kari Lake's like the mama bear, and I would say Wendy Rogers is like the grandmama bear. Let me take this video out here. The Arizona Court of Appeals heard oral arguments yesterday, as of this recording. I am live. Thanks for stopping by. In Kari Lake's challenge, I try not to say the E word. Is there another word for dystopian? As a state Senate panel is hearing explosive allegations of the process failures in Maricopa County. And listen to this. You might have heard this already. The Democrat Secretary of State seeks to have Lake, the 2022 GOP nominee for governor, prosecuted for tweeting evidence from the public Senate hearing of mismatched signatures. He wants her prosecuted for this. This is something that's streamed all over the world. Ms. Lake was on with Mr. Bannon, and she talked about this.
Because people that talk about it here in D.C. like, wow, do you see that at Kari Lake, 3,000 or 4,000 people on basically a rally that started at halftime of the Mahomes versus Burrow, Chiefs versus Bengals game, probably the finest game of the season in the National Football League. You had thousands of people there. I mean, the crowd outside was bigger than the crowd inside. But it was the content. It was as much as the enthusiasm people were sitting there. It was your straightforward way of explaining to the national media and the global media, really, how this thing was. And then all of a sudden, now they're threatening to, throw you in jail? They're coming after you with criminal complaints. Katie Hobbs and her cartel lawyer, right, with the phony attorney general, they're coming at you with a criminal complaint about this because now they're caught out, ma'am.
This reminds me of what's happening with Robert. Robert is admitting basically through his lawyer indirectly that the laptop is his. We've been known. Bob, we knew. But now Bob is saying that, yeah, the laptop was mine. It was mine all the time. But now I'm going to go after the grandpappy allies who tried to expose that it was mine. So Kari Lake is exposing they didn't allow this in the trial. So in the trial for Hobbs in Maricopa County, what happened is they said, hey, there was these ballot issues. They printed the wrong size ballot. Kari said on purpose, I'm not saying that, but they printed the wrong side ballots. And then when that happens, they get rejected. But then what they said is when they get rejected, they get tabulated anyway. So they were like, it doesn't matter. And then I'm like, okay, well then let's audit the ballots that were rejected and tabulated to make sure that they were tabulated correctly. That was outside of the scope of the trial. Also outside of the scope of the trial, they didn't even get to talk about signatures. So now Kari Lake is like, look, the signatures don't match. That's what she's talking about here. We've seen them. We've got them here. The signatures they're not even close. They don't match. And then now they want to prosecute her for exposing that because she's showing voter signatures on a thing that was streamed to the world.
Yep. Yeah. And the Secretary of State, Adrian Fontes, who was a cartel lawyer, and obviously he's been covering cartel law, not constitutional law, because he is suggesting that Chris Hayes, the newly selected AG, criminally prosecute me on felony charges for putting out information on Twitter, they say, that breaks the law. It was the signature verification stuff that you just talked about there. And they say because I put it out on the internet, it broke the law. This was information that was released about a week ago and as public evidence in a Arizona Senate hearing on election fraud. And this information was made public through the Arizona Senate. We put the information out. You just saw us put it out again. This information, by the way, was shared.
Just to be clear, because I missed the edit. You know, when you miss an edit, your heart drops. I used to do a hip hop show on 89.3 WHFR, Dearborn, Michigan. We're making waves. Just a underground hip hop show. No professional DJ voice or anything. And I would cut out the cuss words. But, you listen to the song and you mess up, sometimes I didn't get clean version, so I would edit it myself. And you would miss a cuss word, and I'd be like, ooh. So I missed a word there. So for YouTube, Google, I know, I heard Salty, he'd been saying everything he wants to say about Arizona. He'd been saying the S word, the F word with it, and I'm not talking about cuss words. So I missed the F word there. So I just wanted to tell you, YouTube, I meant to edit it out. Google Alphabet, my overlords, whatever you want me to think about the Arizona election, that's what I believe. So I believe that Katie Hobbs is my Lord, Savior, God, Governor, whatever.
Through the Arizona Senate. It was shared through the Arizona Senate, and it ended up going over the internet when it was shared because it was streamed live across the world. And so he wants Chris Mays, the AG, to criminally prosecute me for telling people about the exorbitant levels of in our election. It's interesting. They just don't want us talking about the election. Hey! It really shows you that we're on to something here.
Kari Lake, boss moves as usual, leader. They're very scared of her. They're very, very scared of what she can do. It's not just the policies that she would implement as governor. It's that she's rallying people, as you just heard Mr. Bannon say during the halftime of this football game, which I could give two issues about. Didn't watch 1 second of it. Don't care. If she can get them rallied at the halftime of one of the big football games, then she's got some influence. She could be a problem. And here's what it sounded like at this Save Arizona rally. This is not an election year. This is after an election year. This is when nobody cares. You can't buy this level of enthusiasm. What do you think of Kari Lake? Do you feel defeated after what the travesty of coincidences that happened in Arizona? How are you feeling, Arizonans? Are you down? Are you in the dumpers? Or are you... When you want to talk about, I like how Eric July, I like Eric July has this phrase where he says, we will win. If you want to know why we will win, it's because of that energy right there. And that's what they're worried about. That's what they're worried about more than anything else, more than the policies of the border that she would do. And, she was going to do some crazy stuff. You know that. When we first met Kari Lake, she was an eye opener. We knew that she was going to cause some problems. We knew she had no fear. When she first came up, and the first quote that most of us heard from her was like, the crack pipe, or the Hunter's crack pipe.
You really need to put down the crack pipe. Hunter's crack pipe.
That's the first clip I heard of her. I had no idea who she was. And then this reporter came up to her and she was like,
you really need to put down the crack pipe. Hunter's crack pipe.
And I was like, I don't know who this is, but this is crazy. Because it was how professional she did it was really what got me. I was like, damn, that's one of the most professional Robert Biden crack pipe references I've ever heard in my life. And then we know subsequently she just completely annihilated that same reporter afterwards in the most professional and happy, smiley way, just completely undressed her and just did away with her. And what she did with that was it represented her versus the media. It represented the evolution of Don Dada. Like, Don Dada was the clumsy first. He was the bull in the china shop, and he was clumsy. He didn't know what he was doing. He was just knocking everything over. Now we got more of like a, I was gonna say a surgeon in the china shop, like deciding how to take out the victims.
Hi, Yuri. Hi. Nice to see you.
Hi. Hi, we're meeting again. Hi. Oh, I remember you. You're the one I annihilated.
Hi, Yuri. Hi. Nice to see you. You don't have a mask on anymore. What's going on?
She's savage. I didn't even mean to redo this, but how can you talk about Kari Lake and not revisit this like every month? You're not wearing a mask.
Hi, Yuri. Hi. Nice to see you. You don't have a mask on anymore.
Where's your mask? You look so much better with the muzzle on. Isn't that what your overlords told you to do? Where's your mask?
You don't have a mask on anymore.
Like this, she couldn't have rehearsed this. Maybe, this could have went in her head, but this was on the fly. We're outside.
You don't have a mask on anymore. What's going on?
Wow, well, we're 6 feet apart.
So she clowns her for like, you believe this 6 feet apart nonsense.
Do you have a minute to chat?
I'll do an interview.
Okay.
As long as it airs on CNN Plus. Does that still exist? I didn't
Why is she so savage? Oh my God.
think so, because the people don't like what you guys are peddling, which is propaganda. Thank you.
Oh my God. So it starts with that. And then we go to more substance with her being the CEO, exposing stuff like this. This was known for quite some time. I didn't know this, that the same person trying to prosecute her, this Adrian Fontes, I didn't know until recently, she brought it up. And I'm like, why do you keep calling him a cartel lawyer? Because he literally was a criminal defense cartel lawyer. That's why. He defended the cartel. This is an article that talks about it. Now, let me get back to the main article here, because I only have 10 minutes. The court heard Kari Lake's case here now. So they heard her case, and now more testimonies coming out. Here's some of the points. let me go over it here. There we go. Here's some of the points. Today's Senate testimony confirms nearly 4,000 ballots, 40,000 ballots, I should say, illegally counted, 10% of the signatures reviewed. So I think all of these deniers out there deserve an apology, is what Kari Lake said. She included the graphic of sampling ballots that were counted despite being signed on a hand that appeared to be different sharply from the voter signature. So they were not allowed to bring that up in the Hobbs trial. So now they're bringing it up in front of the Arizona Senate. Fontes wrote a letter in regards to that, trying to process, instead of looking into it is what you would do, like, well, what's going on? Because you're in charge of it now. You would say, wait a second, what happened? Why does it look like this? No, they're trying to prosecute her. So that it makes them look even more weird, guilty. Why would you prosecute her when you see she's pointing out issues? They're not contesting the issues. So more stuff came out. Some of the stuff that came out in the Hobbs trial came out here, but they're talking about more details that they weren't allowed to talk about in the trial. They had the same person, Heather Honey, was testifying, and she came back. Remember Heather Honey? It's in the playlist. The founder of the Integrity Watchdog Verified Vote testified that there's a lack of chain of custody for about 300,000 early voting ballots. That was not contested in the trial. Their answer in the trial was everything would have been processed through and it would have been fine. So they also had people testifying that 64% of the people waiting in lines of 85 or more when the polls closed never got to vote. That was not, I don't believe that was brought up in the trial, that exact number. So she's going through saying, hey, there's a people that didn't get to vote. Here are the number of ballots that were rejected because of this printer issue. Let me share this video here. She did such a good job here. I'm going to do the ballots that were rejected. She illustrated this with the media and she put on a lesson.
Mama, this fed up mom is too dangerous for them. And we the people are too dangerous for them. Next question. We actually put this together for the media that wants to have their head buried in the sand. Shockingly, I mean, I worked as a journalist. I saw a lot in my 30-year career. Not a lot shocks me. This stuff has shocked me, what we've uncovered about this election. We put these boxes together to illustrate what it looks like on what happened on Election Day in Maricopa County. Right. 250,000 ballots were rejected by the tabulators because Richer and Gates originally printed the wrong image on the ballot when they knew 75% of the people showing up were Kari Lake voters, were Republican voters. They Election Day, they printed the wrong image on the ballot, knowing that that would jam the tabulator and it would spit the ballot out uncounted. If you put all of those ballots that were rejected on Election Day in boxes, this is what it would look like. Take a look at that. And I ask you, are you okay with that?
No.
Are you okay with that? NBC, are you okay with this, sir? CNN, are you okay with this? I'll tell you what, if these were all Democrat voters, I would have a real problem with it. If these were Hobbs voters, I would have a real problem with it. And I would be standing up here saying, no, we're not going to let this happen. And the reason they did this is they knew on day one, besides securing that border, stopping the cartels in their tracks, ending the fentanyl that's pouring through, stopping the human smuggling, on day one, we were going to pull our state legislature together in a special session and take care of our elections for once and for all. Go back to one day, Election Day voting. Get rid of these ballots and make sure that the voice of the people of Arizona was heard loud and clear every election day. That's why they say Election Day, guys. This fed up mom is too dangerous for them. And we the people are too dangerous for them. Next question.
And that is, I think that's part of it. I end off when I talk about Kari Lake. I often end with the other reason why I think they want to stop her. But do you see how effectively that's done? That's problematic because you can't label that as Elon Musk. As I use Elon Musk as an example, Mark Cuban as well, even though they're great business people, they view they try to put people as extremists. And Elon Musk, Mark Cuban, they could try the best, they could try as hard as they want, but they will never be able to label what you just saw there, that video from Kari Lake, as extreme. There's no normal, common person that will look at that video and say, okay, Kari Lake's an extremist. They'll want to know, is it accurate? But they're not looking at her like she's some wackadoo. And that's the problem that Hobbs had. That's why we saw this fortification in Arizona. They couldn't label her as crazy. Hobbs stays in the basement. They do the fortification. You wrap it up. You got your Dem Secretary of State. You got your Dem AG. And then now Hobbs is sworn in. Now it's much harder. The fortification's done. Now you can do fake investigations to cover up, and it's very hard to overcome. But if there's somebody who can do it, it will, to me, it will be Kari Lake. So going through this article even further, Heather Honey, God bless her, she was unbelievable in the testimony. That's one of the videos in that playlist. That was the powerful moment when I started this video where Kari Lake showed a heat map that showed the Republican voters and where the issues were and said, is this a coincidence? On top of, like, that's not the only thing. On top of everything that we already know. Of course, Maricopa County did not immediately respond to a request for comment. That's the update for Arizona, and we'll have to see where it goes from here. I don't know what the next steps are exactly. I'll have to look into that. But good energy. The energy from the crowd it's unbelievable during a football game, nonetheless. Wow. Aqua Mom says Kari is savage. Dieter Andrew, haven't talked in a minute. Thanks for stopping by. Watch Joe next week. Call Tyree's mom, wishing Tyree a speed. Wow. Yeah, man, they got to watch out about Joe. That's why they had Kamala talking about Tyree, so they probably want to keep Joe away from that topic. Yep. They said recall. Matthew Ehrlich said recall. I don't know if it's going to go that. That's going to be very hard to get. That's going to be very hard to get, but I think the momentum is the strong point, and you can see clearly why. I mean, it's not even close that I would pick Kari Lake as president over Don Dada, but much less vice president over someone like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who, I had my problems with Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'm a fall back off of that right now. We're in a different time. I don't trust her, but I'm not going to be hammering on Marjorie Taylor Greene right now every second. There's bigger fish to fry. But I would, of course, pick Kari Lake as vice president over Marjorie Taylor Greene. That's not a debate there. I think Matt Gaetz would be another one, but I would probably pick Kari Lake over Matt Gaetz for VP. That would be a strong, I said I'm not going to vote for Grandpappy. If Grandpappy somehow chose Kari Lake as VP, then I might reconsider. I might. It's possible, depending on what comic Dave Smith does as well. So thanks for stopping by. Good morning, everybody. We got Arizona. I think that River. We've got YouTube royalty in the building. It's early. Well, it's early for me. I'm 6:30, but I've been getting up at 3 a.m., believe it or not, Mountain Time, 5 a.m. Eastern. So River, right, left of center. Click on her in the comments and follow her. Give her a sub up. Amazing work. Thanks for stopping by, River. Got the energy from Arizona. I just love the vibe out there of what they're doing. And it's amazing for Kari Lake to be carrying this momentum. You can tell she's very concerned about people moving on like nothing happened, like this is no big deal. And she's not here to allow that to happen. I'm very, very impressed with her command of everything. She's hiring the right lawyers, in my opinion. She's contracting with the right people for these things. She's taking this she's contesting this and taking it to a place it's never gone. We haven't really seen a better contention, any type of contest like this in a long time. I can't remember ever seeing one, at least in the last, since 2020. And she's getting it done. I'm impressed. I'm gonna leave it out again. This is what they're really scared of right here. Peace.
Now, the most important thing is we got to bring him back. No, I'm not talking about who you think, but I do agree with you on that. We've got to bring him back. Right? When we kicked God out, that is when our troubles began. And we got to invite God back into our culture. We've got to invite God back into our homes. And we have got to invite God back into our hearts. Because let me tell you something, God is on our side. And with God's help, we will win this and we will save this republic. Because when you have God on your side and you have America First policies, we are all going to live a better life because of that.